Morena. Morena. Ka whai, we're awake this morning and we're all waiting in the rain. So let's get the show on the road. Ladies and gentlemen, te reo o Rātana te Tuatoru is here to start our proceedings this morning. So as the band comes in, can we have everybody on their feet? Tēnā koutou.
Ka si koutou e he te noho hoki runga no te ingoa kaho te matua o te tama, o te wairua tapu, te maanga kei no tai tautako mai, ai anei aka nei. A si tēnā tātou e whakahuhi mai nei ki lukai tēnei pari cloud, tēnei papa, suka tio tātou ngā kau ki tō wahi ngaro tuatai, a tūhono i a tātou i roro te kaupupo te rā, tuarua, no le tēnā koutou, ki ora tātou, ke inoi tātou. Ke whai kloria koe i hoa ngā mano. Kai te rangi nei tau te roon ni whenua ana hok tau tūranga mau o te rā kei ngā wahi katono ki koe karangi ai tau ingoa. E te matua, e te tama, e te wairua tapu. Hui tai no ki a koutou karere ngā ana hera polo. Hui tai heno hoki te kāhui e riku wairua te arapa te amaka periwiri tua hāmura ko koe no ke pātou mākai. Tō matau mākai roto nei koe te ture wairua ture tangata. E le rā mātou te pātou ki a tiki a koutou i runga loki ngā kau whakaiti. Kia whakapiri mai, ke whatata mai koutou, ke tatu mai koutou ki wanganu i a mātou. Tō koutou kāia kai roto i te ngā koutou hunga e whakae pōnana ki a koutou. Nō leile lunga ana hoki te ngā kau whakaiti e pātou ki atunu ki a koutou. Ke no hotonu koutou hei mana ki hei teki i awhiri a mātou. Whakarongo mai rā ki ngā kupo tēnei hui ngā mātou. Mā koutou hoki hei tātari i lunga ana hoki tau koutou ingoa ka. Te heki ngā tau arohono e i hua. E nā nā mātou tuatahe me tāpai ka hasiki moana o ki a koutou. Mai o te tau ko pai makana e tai no mai ki tēnei tau. Kai tāpai a se mātou i ngā huatang kai runga noki o mātou tina no me mātou wairua. A pehitanga ngā tau mahatang ngā huatang kai runga noki o mātou tina. Wa te wate hias tang, hias kaupari atu noki te wai kumakalito mai e koutou. Mo e rātu a huatanga ana. Ia noho mātou i rasta korowai o tau arono e whiwhiai mātou ngā taro o rotu noho ta koutou krori a tanga. Aroha mai ke ia upononga e pokai ka hasi nei ki moano ki a koutou i tēnei wā. E ututuru po mau kotono hoki a koutou mana ki tankirunga noki tēnei noka mātou. E noho tonu koutou hei arahi a mteki hei mana ki a mātou i roto no ka neke te katanga o te rā. Tai no ki ngā rā maha kai moano ki a mātou. E tangi e sana i ino e sana hoki a koutou i runga ante heki a tau aroha noa. E te matua, e te tama, e te wairua tapu. Ho i tahe no ki te kahu e riki wairua te arapata me ka piriwiri tua hāmana me a koutou karere ngāne na pono. Me maanga i kei rota hei tautako mai. Ai anei, ake nei, ai.
E te iwi. Morena. Still alive, ka pai. Would you stand with me as we sing this morning? Our first hymn, Tamanga Kaumari. Ka pai e noho tātai. Me ngā me hoki, ki a koe te pāpa, e anku pahu akuhata, tō tātou a pōtoro te ata nei, just giving acknowledgements as well to our a pōtoro pahu akuhata, o te hāhi rātana, me tēnei te reo, tuatoru o te hāhi rātana anō, our band this morning, who have given us the pleasure opening our proceedings this morning. So acknowledgements to you. And the acknowledgements that, continue this morning, as well as the blessings. Of course, we start this part of our procession with many blessings, as the day deserves as well. And so at the moment, I would love to welcome Waka Taite, ka tuku anō i te reo whakatau ki runga ki a tātou, just to settle us all here on behalf of tangata whenua. Haere mai.
Kia ora mai rā tātou. Koe nei rā te mihi atu kia koutou katoa. No reira no mai, haere mai rā ki roa tātou maunga. Hopukiore. Koe nei rā te mahi kia runga i a tātou i tēnei rā. Kia pai hoki rā toko no noho i rato te ua nei nā i tēnei rā. Hoi anō, ka puta ake taku aroha no kia koutou katoa. Hara mai. Ka tira te rā mihi kia koutou katoa. Tēnā koutou, kia ora tātou katoa. Koe nei rā te mihi atu koutou katoa. Tēnā koutou. Kia roho hoki rā tātou katoa. Ka mihi ara kia koutou i tēnei. Tēnā koutou, kia rā tātou katoa.
Ka poa, even though there was a bit of kawhawha there, it's very important that we have the welcoming of the host people. And of course, that's what our founding document actually acknowledges as well, is the welcome of the host people. And I say our founding document because it really does provide a foundation for us all to be here in this beautiful whenua and this beautiful part of the world. Even when it's raining, it's beautiful. Nō reira, mōrena, ka pai. The morning blessings continue. As now we hear from our hāhi, our churches, and of course our church had a big part to play in our founding document as well. So this morning we carry on that tradition and welcome Pastor David Disherin from Change Point Church, or Hauiti, a good friend of mine, to the stage, ladies and gentlemen. Haere mai, Pastor David.
Kia ora, Josh. Kia ora koutou, ko David Disherin. Ko te minita o Change Point Poeki. Nō reira, tēnā koutou katoa. I want to acknowledge, first and foremost, the fear of the Lord, which is the beginning of wisdom. The person who mentored me over many years, I had the privilege of being called his pastor, but I think it was him mentoring me and looking after me, was Hui Kakahukawe, and he would always step into a moment, and the first thing that he would say, often in the whakato and the different things that he would do, would be the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. I want to acknowledge the kaumatuas who have welcomed us, who are here today, to all the leaders of our community, governance, education, social services. We acknowledge you all and pray for you as minister on behalf of the people you serve. My journey began with a conversation in Los Angeles, California. I had no real idea of what New Zealand or Aotearoa had ever heard any of those things. But I wanted to train for the ministry, And so in this conversation with a man named Dr. Des Short, who is the founder of Faith Bible College here locally, began to share with him what our desires and our hopes were, and he invited us to come as students in 1979. So we arrived after 1 year of marriage, my wife Linda and I, and we began our journey. I had no clue at all of the journey of this nation or how it was birthed or how anything of a treaty or anything or otherwise. So as a student, and then later I was invited back to become a staff member. And so it was there that I began to hear about Waitangi and about different things that had given birth to this great country. I've gone through all the processes. I've gone through the welcoming ceremonies by Maori. As you can hear me speaking, I'm from America originally, but I have lived here now a total of combined 37 years. I've raised my boys here, and my 5 mokopunas have been born at Tauranga Hospital. So it was in the early days of pastoring this church, this journey that I've been on, and I'm still a part of this church, though semi-retired. It was in the early days that I began to ask some fundamental questions. I wonder if what's happening within the framework of my church, being involved with the people, talking with them, praying, counseling, ministering, I wonder if what's happening on this smaller scale, if there's something that's contributing to the brokenness, the various things that I was seeing in people's lives. I wonder if something in the bigger picture has transpired that I need to know about. It was that kind of question that led me to a group to sit down in the early days, some 30 years ago, over on Devonport Road. As we sat there, we listened to the history being presented to us about some of the things that happened in our city. Begin to hear and read and understanding the past, the founding, the gospel history, Archdeacon Brown, the betrayal, the hurt, the confiscation of Tauranga, Te Papa Peninsula, Mission Cemetery, the Battle of Gate Pa, the Tauranga battle site. All these various things became known as I would go there, as I would sit, I would listen. And I began to gain an understanding of how I could help my people. This jurisdiction of responsibility of several hundred people that we pastor. How could I help them? How could I help them deal with some realities? So this group called Te Koenga, it was named by Hui Kakuhukawi, the net, the weaving. I've been a part of that, and it's built around this one word. It's a biblical word. It's called reconciliation. It's this mentoring and this grouping of just fellow believers in Jesus Christ who are endeavoring to, in our day, on our watch, in our time, walk in the spirit and the heart of Jesus, who is a reconciler. We've had mentorship from Monty Ohia Jr., who's gone on to be with the Lord, but during his time back in the 90s, he would come out of Wellington and he would come to his home to Kairua to meet up with his father, Monty Sr., and he would give some time to us as a Te Koenga group, and he would sit among us and he would talk about the 12 steps of reconciliation. So he would mentor us and talk with us. We've had Dr. Alistair Reese, who has written about Naboth's Vineyard, how the Maori viewed the confiscation, particularly of Te Papa, as Naboth's Vineyard. As I've read through that and others have contributed locally, it's helped me bring me to a place of understanding as a church leader that although I'm not Anglican or I have a denominational badge, I am a follower of Jesus, and if I want to see and seek the welfare of the city that I've been planted in, then I need to understand this one word. I can't sit here and say that I've got a lock on it, but I can tell you that I've made progress to a place where today my purpose to speak to you is to call each and every single one of us into this word, to enter into the pain, to enter into the brokenness, to enter into the difficulties that have transpired in the past, because sometimes to go forward, you have to go back. I'm not an advocate that we live in the rearview mirror, but I am an advocate that to make progress, we have to enter into this spirit of the treaty itself, which is the spirit I call reconciliation. So when I speak to most of you that are followers of Jesus, you are church people or church going, I realize that there are 130 plus churches in this city. It stretches from Papamoa through to Tapuna, different denominations, ethnicities. And in that, we are called as leaders and as church people to humbly serve, to come alongside. Not to come over the top, but come underneath. To lift up, to pray, to bless, and to stand in the gap and speak and act in love. In the Old Testament, there is a picture as God mentored through Moses, his brother Aaron, who was the priest, that people would come and they would bring their sacrifices and they would go through what they call an atonement process, which is a reconciliation process. And the summation that he said at the end of a process, at the end of a protocol, there's something you need to do, Aaron, on my behalf. And here's the words that he spoke. And I want to use it this morning before we sing a waiata, is this. The Lord spoke to Moses out of Numbers chapter 6, saying, "Speak to Aaron and to his sons, saying, in this way you shall bless the sons of Israel. You are to say to them, the Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord cause his face to shine on you and be gracious to you. The Lord lift up his countenance upon you, his face upon you, and give you peace." And he goes on to say, "So they shall invoke my name on the sons of Israel, and then I will bless them." This is the Old Testament church, if you care say that Aaron was to stand in this place and he was to help a process of reconciliation called atonement. And at the end of it, he was to invoke a blessing, to take and invoke the name so that God could act. And what's what God's disposition was? I want to bless you. I want your family to prosper. I want your family to be healed. I want your nation. I want your country. I want all that you... So to do that, I need to have a process. I need to have atonement. I need to have certain things done. Aaron, you're to act on my behalf. And as you do, here's what you're to do at the end of it. You're to bless, to speak well of, invoke the name of God, to keep your guard, to say that my face is toward you. It's not against you. I don't hear God saying I'm against you as a New Zealand, as Aotearoa. I'm here because I love you, and I'm wooing you, and I'm calling you back to myself. So your job is to invoke the name so that I can bless you. So that's what I'm going to do. The Lord bless you. Maori, kaumatuas, the Lord keep you. The Lord make his face shine upon you, and may he give you peace. To all of us, let's do that wherever we go. Let's bless, let's pray for the peace of Aotearoa. So on behalf of the church of Tauranga Moana towards Maori, we bless you and pray for your healing, the restoration of mana, your prosperity. Your healing is our healing, our nation's healing. To all nations, we welcome you. We welcome you. Kapai.
Ka pai. Tēnā koe, Pastor David Dishroon. Thank you for your message this morning. And yes, of course, when we come to Waitangi, we can't help but think about reconciliation and what that means for each and every one of us here today as well. And so we return those blessings back to you, Pastor David, and also Waiata International. Ladies and gentlemen, can we give them another round of applause? Our whānau who hail from the Pacific, and also there's a few Brazilians in their crowd as well. Nō reira kia koutou katoa, e ngā tangata o te moana nui ākiwa o tira, o te ao whānui, tēnā koutou. Koutou e wāta tiau e nei o ngā kōrero tēnei reo anō o tātou i tēnei ata he ata who are just acknowledging you and your work this morning to sing those praises. And yeah, it's beautiful as well. And we'll hear more from Waiata International coming up within our proceedings this morning. But yes, we must get onto it. And whilst we do get onto it, I've got my little friend here. Everyone say pere. Yes. Oh, hang on. Oh, there we go. Does have a tangi, te tangi o te pere. It's probably so we can all know how proceedings are going, but it's mostly if we get long-winded speakers up here this morning, which often happens. But hey, it's the statutory holiday. We got all day, whānau. No. Ka pai. We'll stick back with it. But again, mōrena to you all. Welcome here as we commemorate the past and we also celebrate the future that provides as well. I think that's what I think about when I come to Waitangi Day. So we'd like to obviously acknowledge quite a few of our officials and guests this morning. We've got members of Parliament here as well, Jan Tinetti and Sam Uffendale. Thank you for being here with us in the community of Tauranga this morning. Our mayors of Tauranga City Council, Mahe Drysdale, Western Bay of Plenty Mayor James Denyer as well, and of course representing our Bay of Plenty Regional Council too, we have Councillor Mate Moana McDonald, tēnā koe te whaia. Western Bay of Plenty Commander Inspector Clifford Paxton is here as well. So we've got really representatives from all of those official spaces within our community. And of course, Te Haukainga, Ngai Te Rangi Ngāti Rangi Nui Ngāti Pūkenga are represented here this morning as well by our whānau under the marquee here. Nō reira e ngā rau rangatira, koutou katoa. Koutou ke ko te kaupapa nui o te rā ko te hapori. It's actually you that are the focus of our day this morning and of our proceedings here. So welcome to you all. Thank you for coming out and embodying the principles of the Treaty of Waitangi and showing up this morning, even in the rain. E mihi kawana kia koutou. And I must, of course, make a special acknowledgement to all of our runners that just found us and we're like, I've got to stop and see what's going on. You are a special breed. Yep, we acknowledge ladies, gentlemen, and runners. I've seen a few of them pull up this morning. Look, there's a running crew over here. Rima, tēnā koutou. Ka pai. But today is a special day, and it is a reason to stop on your run this morning. 185 years since the signing of the Treaty of Waitangi, since its inception. And we've come so far as a nation, and we've still got some work to do. I'm sure you feel that as well out in our community, all sorts of things flaring up across the nation as well. So Waitangi and Te Tiriti o Waitangi, of course, is pivotal in taking us forward as a nation. So it's great to see a great representative of that nation here this morning. Ka pai. Let's get on with things, because we were talking about people talking too long, and here we are. A little bit of housekeeping though. If you didn't know, our wharepaku are just around this corner. Ka pai. Grass is wet. Careful if you're coming down the hill. We aren't live streaming this morning, but there's going to be a recording of this procession this morning, if you'd like to take note of that. And yes, we did introduce the timekeeper. First aid, Josh, on my right by the TCC ute. Ka pai. TCC ute if you need first aid care this morning. Let's get into our city leaders' speeches. So we're going to be moving towards, firstly, our iwi leaders. And so on behalf of all of our iwi this morning, Ngāti Rangi Nui, Ngai Te Rangi, and Ngāti Pūkenga, we're going to welcome the Ngāti Pūkenga iwi chair, Kylie Smallman. Ladies and gentlemen.
Tēnā koutou katoa. There we go. Ka pai. Tēnā tātou katoa e te tuatahi mihi ana ki a koe koropahu I whakatūwhira o te kaupapa whakahirahira o tātou no Aotearoa, nau whakamana mahana te ara tika o tātou. Kia koutou hoki ngā rangatira o ngā iwi o Tauranga Moana me te mana whenua Ngāti Kuku e mihi ana. Kia koutou hoki ngā kai kaunihira me ngā kai whakahaere o tēnei kaupapa, te tira pautaka wainga. E mihi, ka nui te mihi kia koutou, hoki atu kia koutou katoa I oho moata I tēnei atahua. Tēnā koutou. Ko Kylie Smallman tēnei, he uria hau no Ngāti Pūkinga, Ngā Pōtiki, Ngāti Whakau e Tūhaurangi. Ko au te tiamana o Ngāti Pūkinga ki Tauranga. So my name is Kylie and I'm currently the chair of Ngāti Pūkinga Iwi ki Tauranga. So this is the second year that I've been asked or bullied to speak at the Waitangi commemorations. Last year, I spoke about the coalition's policies and the impact on Māori. I highlighted the fact that they were divisive and they were targeted at Māori. I also acknowledged the advocacy and the support of tangata tiriti, the mobilisation and unification of Māori, and the fire burning within us, reminding us of our inherent power. I also put out a few challenges, namely around advocacy, resistance and unity. But the thing that surprisingly had the most impact was the challenge I put out there to make 5 Māori friends. I put this out there to help shift the minds and the hearts of those who don't know or understand my people or the treaty. But it had such a great impact that shortly after my kōrero, I actually made 5 Pākehā friends. So they were keen and they wanted to learn more. So it showed me that people want change, but they just need a little guidance or a little awhi to help them get there. So that's what I'm choosing to focus on today, is how can we all be good treaty partners? 185 years after the signing, and here we are, still protesting, still fighting for our rights as Māori, and still trying to convince the government to be good treaty partners. Last year, I flexed about being an avid protester, but to be honest, I don't want to fight. And I don't want my kids to fight or their kids to continue fighting long after I'm gone. So how do we do things differently? That's what I'm going to explore today. But before we do so, let us first reflect on the year gone and the state of the Māori Crown relationship. Let's start with the Treaty Principles Bill. This bill claims to offer equal rights to all New Zealanders, but in reality, it effectively strips Māori of their treaty partnership rights and undermines their sovereignty. By dismissing Māori rights, this bill deepens racial division rather than honouring genuine partnership. This bill is built on misleading narratives. For instance, co-governance is falsely framed as undemocratic. Equity is mislabelled as race-based policies. Treaty settlements are portrayed as unfair, and national unity is used as a cover for erasing Māori rights. All of which conveniently ignore the fact that Māori are treaty partners. This government has allowed misinformation and fear-mongering to thrive rather than ensuring an informed, balanced conversation. At its core, opposition to the treaty stems from a deep-seated fear of losing power amongst those who have gained the most from the oppression of my people. Then in response to the Treaty Principles Bill, we saw the biggest hikoia in New Zealand's history, led by Eru Kapakingi and the Toitū Te Tiriti group. This group didn't wait for a mandate. They just took the bill by the horns and they ran, taking with them hundreds and thousands of New Zealanders to the steps of Parliament. And what a glorious week it was, not only for Māori but for all of Aotearoa, because people from all walks of life marched in solidarity for Māori rights and to reinforce the true essence of the treaty. It was a beautiful sight. This then sparked over 300,000 submissions, the highest number for any bill in New Zealand's history. I've never written so many submissions in my life. But it's amazing because the voices of Māori and tangata tiriti are being heard louder than ever before. Many thanks to those who held workshops across the country and helped others to get their submissions in. Our collective response is a powerful force. We also witnessed the ascension of a new Māori queen, Te Ariki Nui Queenie ngā Waihono i te pō, a new symbol of hope for te iwi Māori. Whether one follows the kingitanga or not, she now carries the legacy of her father, who laid the foundations for the unification of all Māori. With a fresh, vibrant and youthful outlook, she stands as a beacon of hope for te iwi Māori. And last but not least, we acknowledge the fearlessness of Hana Rāwhiti Maipi Clark. What a powerhouse. Her courageous leadership has inspired Indigenous and oppressed people worldwide, showing that the fight for cultural survival, rights and justice is a global struggle. Her unapologetic and direct activism sparked conversations about the role of Indigenous cultures in political spaces and the future that we're building. She is proof that our younger generations will continue the fight for self-determination and recognition. So as we reflect on the past year, it's clear that in the face of adversity, we'll continue to fight and we will rise. But how do we create change so our grandchildren and their grandchildren are not left with this burden of a strained relationship between Māori and the Crown? The first step is, well, I think, is that we take action ourselves by reclaiming our power. Tangata tiriti, I believe your superpower is that you have the ability to walk in both worlds, the Pākehā world and the Māori world. You may have grown up in or around communities that largely hold negative views of Māori, yet you have also learned about te tiriti, our culture, and the ongoing struggle of Māori. You hold the greatest influence with those who fear Māori simply because they don't know us or understand us or the treaty. So I hope you made your 5 Māori friends last year, because you have the power to bring our two worlds together by being the bridge of knowledge, empathy, and understanding. It warmed my heart to see so many of you protesting alongside us, standing proudly in a sea of fiercely passionate Māori, waving your flags, singing our waiata, and embodying what it means to be good treaty partners. You're the real MVPs, and I thank you. Māori, your superpower is just to be unapologetically Māori. Be more Māori than ever before, and don't let anyone else tell you otherwise, not even the government. Speak kia reo, even if all you know is kia ora, say it to everyone you meet. Sing our waiata, wave our flags, and wear your merch to show just how proud you are to be Māori. And on that note, wahine mā, if you're interested in my jacket here, it was made by my good friend Aroha Noa Matthews, who's sitting over there. And you can find her exclusive creations at www.honocollection.shop. Kia ora. But my point is, be proud to be Māori and show everyone who you are. That is your superpower, and now more than ever is the best time to flex it. So to reclaim our power, we must also strategically engage in politics to infiltrate the system, ensuring we influence from within whilst maintaining pressure from outside. To achieve this, we must encourage our people via whānau-led initiatives to register and vote with clear messaging on why their vote matters. We must also campaign for the Māori electoral roll to strengthen Māori representation. And also we must support Māori candidates and build a network of Māori leaders prepared to run for local and national government positions. On that note, the Te Awanui by-election is happening right now, so it's time to mobilise whānau. It's our opportunity to infiltrate. But the ultimate change will come from building a unified future. And so how do we do that? So for Māori, I believe we must harness the unity experience at the hikoi and bring it back here to Tauranga. We bring it back to our iwi, our marae, our land trusts, and our intertribal relationships. We stop working in our silos, and we harness the true power of kotahitanga. We're all doing the best we can and with what we have. But the needs of our people keep growing larger and larger but our resources largely remain the same. We've got people struggling, living in cars and disconnected from their people. We've also got our old people doing all the heavy lifting on all of our marae. Times have changed, whānau, and we need to do things differently. We need to leverage our collective resources and work together, because this is where the real change will happen. We must move forward as one, and now is the time. To build a unified future, we must also look to our rangatahi. They are fearless, innovative, unafraid to challenge the status quo. We must seek their solutions, embrace their perspectives, and empower them to shape the future of Aotearoa. They understand social media as a tool for mobilisation. They see through political spin. They bring new ways of thinking and challenge the systems that have failed us for generations. Our responsibility is to listen, support, and trust them to carry our aspirations forward. It's time we uplift our young leaders, ensuring they have the resources, knowledge, and confidence to move forward with their ideas and their visions. Rangatahi are not just the leaders of tomorrow, they are also the leaders of today. So ultimately, building a unified future depends on the relationship between Māori and tangata tiriti. True power does not lie with the politicians, it belongs to the people here. Governments will come and go, so together we must choose to uphold te tiriti regardless of government mandates. Collaboration between Māori and tangata tiriti fosters mutual understanding, respect, and shared problem solving. It breaks down barriers, strengthens social cohesion, and ensures transformation where it matters most. Here, grassroots, local level in Tauranga Moana, driven by the needs of the people and not by government mandates. So for lasting impact, we must take ownership of our own solutions, unite on our own terms, and shape a self-determined, inclusive future built by the people and for the people. So in conclusion, change doesn't come from politicians, it comes from us. The strength of te tiriti isn't in government policies, but in how we uphold it every day. We can't wait for those in power to do what's right. Look, it's been 185 years and we're still waiting. True partnership is shown in how we stand together and how we challenge misinformation and create solutions that honour both tangata whenua and tangata tiriti. It's time we move forward with unity and purpose, reshaping the future of Aotearoa. Our strength lies in collective action, commitment, and unwavering justice. The responsibility is ours and not the government's. Tēnā tātou.
Tēnā koe Kylie Smallman, ladies and gentlemen, our iwi chair for Ngāti Pūkenga, speaking on behalf of our iwi leaders this morning. And our community leaders' conversations continue as well, so I'd like to introduce and welcome the Mayor of Tauranga City, Mahi Drysdale, ladies and gentlemen.
Tēnā koutou, ngā mihi nui, ki koutou katoa, morena everybody. It's an honour to be at Hopukiore today to mark the 181st anniversary of the signing of the Te Tiriti Waitangi. Given the commentary around the Te Tiriti at the current treaty principles hearing, I think Tauranga Moana Waitangi Day service is particularly significant. As tangata tiriti, I would therefore like to record my thoughts on the importance of te tiriti, both historically and on the role in shaping Aotearoa's future. First and foremost, te tiriti is our founding document and guides the governance of our country. It holds the status of a contract between iwi and the Crown, and therefore affects all Kiwis. Tangata whenua and tangata tiriti setting out the partnership between the Crown and tangata whenua. It is not something that should be reinterpreted. It has its own context and principles. If changes are required, that should be done in a respectful negotiation between the partners of the original agreement. From a local government perspective, the treaty embodies a commitment to working with mana whenua to improve opportunities for Māori to participate in decision-making processes. That commitment is enshrined in the legislation that governs local authority operations, and it is my hope that the respective acts of Parliament involved are not watered down. The desire to enhance Māori participation underlies a number of key council initiatives in recent times, such as the decision to introduce the Te Awanui Māori ward at last year's council election. And as we've mentioned today, there is a by-election currently underway, and we really hope that you get out and vote, and we have some great candidates. So we have our team of 10 made whole with a Māori voice. Last year, at the end of the year, we made the move to appoint iwi representatives with the necessary skills and experience as full voting members of 3 council committees. That decision reflects both an appreciation of the positive contribution iwi representatives made to the proceedings of the Council's former Strategy, Finance and Risk Committee, and in recognition in wider national sense that tangata whenua representation in decision making results in more informed decisions and better outcomes for the city. Based on the communications I and other council elected members have received, I can tell you that not everyone supports that proposition. Nevertheless, the majority of your civic leaders are convinced that it is the right thing to do, and we are confident that each of the committees involved will demonstrate the value of better informed, inclusive governance. We look forward to further strengthening our relationship with mana whenua over the remainder of the Council's 4-year term. I can say in the last 6 months, I've made more than 5 Māori friends, and it has certainly been very beneficial for me and the city. We believe in partnerships and working collaboratively with all our partners in the city who want to see the city succeed. Mana whenua are one of our key partners, and we look forward to working with you to deliver for the city. Today is a day to celebrate our history and understand our past. But I want to focus on the future, learning from where we have come from. I hope we can accept and respect all that has got us here. We need to stop this division. We need that reconciliation. Accept different views and perspectives and get on and work together as one for the betterment of our communities, for the betterment of our city, and for the betterment of our country. We are one people. Te Tiriti o Waitangi is our founding document, and it sets out our country's founding partnership between tangata whenua and the Crown and must be respected. Ultimately, we are stronger when we work together, and I give you my commitment to continue to work with all our partners to make this the best city in Aotearoa. Aki aki, kia kaha, ngā mea nui, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa.
Tēnā koe Mayor Mahei. And we continue as well with the Mayor of Western Bay of Plenty Council, James Denia, ladies and gentlemen.
Kei ngā iwi o te orohi, tēnā koutou. Kei aku hoa ao ngā konahira me te karauna, tēnā koutou. Ki te hunga whakarongo, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa. Waitangi Day is a special day that commemorates the signing of a document that saw the birth of our country as we know it. Although I would acknowledge the imperfect adherence of the treaty over the years, it is nevertheless the underlying symbol of the hope for unity between the indigenous inhabitants of Aotearoa and all the peoples who have made it their home since then. There has been considerable debate in recent months about what the treaty means and the principles associated with it. But for me, behind all that is the idea that by working together, we can enjoy a richer relationship and better outcomes for all. So I will therefore always continue to meet with and learn from iwi, hapu and whānau in our rohi and seek what is tika for all our people whilst honouring Te Tiriti. Our council has made big strides in recent years, building better relationships, and we have reinforced this by our actions. From the return of whenua to reaffirming our decision to establish a Māori ward, to assisting with the planning and funding for papakainga, and to our staff putting in many hours of volunteer labour rebuilding Te Rangi Hauhiri Marae o Matakana. There is always more work to do, and I look forward to continuing this mahi. But for now, I hope you enjoy a happy Waitangi Day filled with kotahitanga and hope for the future. Kia pai te rā Waitangi, tēnā koutou katoa. Thank you.
Tēnā koe Mayor James. And our last speaker of the program, this part of the program this morning, I'd like you to help me to welcome Councillor Mate Moana McDonald, representing the Bay of Plenty Regional Council. We've got all the councils here this morning, acknowledging this great day. So ladies and gentlemen, Councillor Mate Moana McDonald.
Tēnā koutou katoa, atamaria kia koutou. It is great to see so many of you here today to commemorate and celebrate Waitangi Day and the signing of our nation's founding document, Te Tiriti o Waitangi. Ka nui te mihi kia koutou. But firstly, can I ask how many of you today are first timers to this event? Can I just see a show of hands? Ka nui te mihi kia koutou. Welcome to our celebration of Waitangi today. It is always good to see newcomers coming to join us to celebrate this special day. Ngā mihi. Each year, the celebration grows as more and more people learn about what the treaty means to us all today, besides just being a public holiday. For me, having attended for the past 8 years, it has become a day we come together as tangata whenua and tangata tiriti to embrace the uniqueness of Māori culture and all cultures that call Aotearoa home. This afternoon, some of us will be going to the more colourful celebrations being held at the historic village or at the Whararoa Marae, where an array of cultures will be participating. So why is Waitangi Day really important in today's world, we may well ask? Well, we should all acknowledge that today is not just a celebration. It is a time to reflect on the importance of Te Tiriti o Waitangi and the obligation each and every one of us has to uphold the treaty. On reflection, we know that in 1840, Māori forged an enduring partnership with the Crown, signifying the birth of our nation, a place where tangata whenua and tangata tiriti could both thrive side by side. It was in this document that the Crown guaranteed to Māori pre-existing rights of rangatiratanga and the protection of their taonga, while also granting them the same rights and privileges of British subjects in exchange for the Crown's right to govern. Now hold that thought. Such breaches seen in Tauranga Moana were no exception. Tauranga iwi, like many others throughout the country, experienced devastating consequences through raupatu, loss of land which led to the breakdown of tikanga and loss of te reo Māori. And what has been the impact of that? Well, for generations, Māori fought to uphold the promises that were guaranteed to them in 1840. There have been significant efforts and tireless advocacy by Māori leaders past and present, to continue fighting to secure their rights within the treaty. Tribes around the country negotiate the return of stolen land through treaty settlements, challenge institutional racism, and advance the recognition of tino rangatiratanga in partnership with the Crown, to name a few. Through decades of perseverance, we have seen Te Reo Māori revitalised. At this point, I wish to pay homage to the passing of Dame Iritana Tawhiwhirangi, who was a strong advocate of Māori language education and the kohanga movement, a movement responsible for a whole generation that are now fluent speakers of Te Reo Māori. Moi mai rā, e te mārei kora. But it is also important to mention here that this has not been achieved by Māori alone. It has been with the support of tangata tiriti and our Pākehā advocates who understand, recognise and respect the partnerships that were envisaged when the treaty was signed, and acknowledging that an effective partnership needs the commitment of all parties, and therefore we all need to ensure the treaty is upheld. Earlier I mentioned the treaty the Treaty Principles Bill currently before the House, and you heard the views of Kylie. This bill is an attack on the mana of the treaty. It attempts to strip away the hard-fought gains of our people, to rewrite history, and is racially divisive to all our communities. That is not the Aotearoa we want. So let's not allow it to happen. Let's all work together to protect the promises of the treaty. Māori will no longer allow their rangatiratanga, their whakapapa, their reo, their whenua to be undermined by ignorance and political agendas. The future need not be contentious as we are being led to believe. For te iwi Māori, the future is never impossible. We saw it in the peaceful protest hikoi to Parliament, as Kylie alluded to recently, and hui a motu held at Tauranga Waiwai and Ratanapa. And we also see it now in our emerging rangatira leaders, also mentioned by Kylie, and Hana Rāwhiti, and the recently crowned Ngāwai Ono i te pō. And despite the challenges we currently face, we will continue to rise above it. There is still hope for a new Aotearoa, and it is within reach if we all continue to stand, to speak, and to fight together to protect the rights agreed to in the treaty. Toi tū te tiriti, kia kotahi tātou. Honour the treaty and let us stand together. Nō reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa.
Tēnā koe whaia mā te Moana MacDonald, also Councillor and Representative of the Bay of Plenty Regional Council at this morning's proceedings. We now move to the open forum, ladies and gentlemen. So, of course, yes, I have the pleasure of acknowledging and welcoming our community to the podium this morning. Now, there are a few time restrictions, and funny enough, I only just got my mate Pere going in the back there. So whilst we have had maybe a few longer than scheduled talks this morning, I look behind me, when we face out to the crowd as well, just know that I've got Pere close by. So if you decide to give your own sermon, you may get the kapai. We'll have a listen out for that. But firstly, we've got a few people that have already signed up for our open forum this morning. So firstly, I would like to welcome Sam Uffendale to the pulpit.
Kia ora koutou. Moa te maunga, tauranga te moana, ina iwi, ina rangatira, ina karangatanga maha. Ko Jenny taku mama, ko Pitu taku papa, ko Julia nai tahu nā tiparo taku wahine. Hema parimata o mā tauranga, ko Sam Uffendale o. Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for coming out in the weather today. It's another, well, it will be another splendid day here in Tauranga Moana, but thank you for persevering. I want to thank Josh for running things today, acknowledge Mahe and James, our mayors behind us, and our representatives from the Bay of Plenty Regional Council. Also our three iwi here, our three main iwi in Tauranga Moana, Ngaitarangi, Ngāti Ranganui and Ngāti Pūkenga, and all the kaumātua that are here representing them today. And also want to thank all of you for being here and acknowledging the importance of Waitangi Day here in Aotearoa, New Zealand. Look, it is clear there is a fair bit of division and uncertainty and challenge out there in our community at the moment. I want to acknowledge that, and I also want to know that we need to work together. We need to be united. We are all New Zealanders. We do have a prosperous future. We do have some challenges inherent in our past, though, and they do need to be addressed. We need to continue with the Waitangi settlements process. We need to address the inequalities that exist within New Zealand. We are not there yet. We have a lot of work to do, but we need to be united. We are all Kiwis, and I look forward to working with you very hard to make sure that we can continue to make Tauranga a great place and achieve better outcomes for all of New Zealanders. Kia ora, and have a fantastic Waitangi Day.
Sam Uffindale, ladies and gentlemen. Can I now welcome Matire Duncan to the microphone. Another height-challenged speaker this morning. Here we go. Just down a little bit more.
Morena tātou. Inga mana, inga reo, inga kāranga rangataha, tanga maha, tēnā koutou katoa. Ko Matire Duncan tōku ingoa, kua hau te tia mana o te rangapū mana whenua o Tauranga Moana. Mayor has acknowledged earlier that around the resolving the tangata whenua representatives on the three councils, this is a milestone that reflects a commitment to stronger partnerships, better decision-making and honouring Te Tiriti o Waitangi. This is also an opportunity to build deeper relationships, ensure better outcomes for our communities, and bring valuable Māori perspective to the table. By working together, we create policies that respect cultural values, protect our environment, and strengthen our local economy. Tangata whenua have a unique and enduring connection to the whenua and taiao, making our involvement in decision-making crucial for sustainable planning, resource management and social well-being. There are a number of councils across Aotearoa that have already embraced this model, leading to positive results in governance, environmental stewardship and community engagement. This initiative reinforces the Council's commitment to inclusivity and transparent decision-making. When we work together, we build a stronger and more resilient future. Tauranga City Council and Te Rangapu are working through a recruitment process for these appointments. Just on the Te Awanui Māori by-election, the by-election is a significant opportunity to ensure strong Māori leadership and governance continues at the council table. So last week the by-election has been triggered following the resignation of our Te Awanui Ward Councillor Makaere Sydney due to illness, and we extend our aroha to Makaere and his whānau. Our voice, our aspirations and our tino rangatira must be upheld in decision-making that affects our people in whenua. There are key dates, so the nominations are now open and they close on March the 3rd. Voting packs are delivered to your address from on starting Monday the 7th of April, and voting opens from 7th of April and closes Tuesday the 29th of April. Only voters who are enrolled on the Māori roll will be voting in the by-election for the Te Awanui Māori Ward. I encourage whānau to get involved. Make sure you're enrolled, consider standing and support candidates who will advocate for our communities and Te Tiriti-based partnerships. If you have the passion, skills and commitment to serve, now is the time to step forward. Standing as a candidate for the Māori Councillor requires a unique blend of skills, experience and values to effectively advocate for tangata whenua and influence decision-making at the council table. There are some key skills and attributes that would be beneficial to this position, and that is an understanding of Te Ao Māori and advocacy, leadership and governance skill, communication and relationship building, knowledge of local governments and policies, council engagement and advocacy, and resilience and commitment. The Tauranga City Council Takawaenga Māori unit and I are working together to plan for the by-election. A candidates information evening is planned in a couple of weeks. The objective is to help prepare and provide expert guidance to potential candidates interested in standing for the Te Awanui Māori ward. The session will provide presentations around what is needed from candidates, what governance look like, and a Māori ward councillor from another district talking about their experience and motivation to stand for office, election campaigning and rules, and the relationships with tangata whenua. I've also just happened to have some nomination forms and candidates information sheets if you want to come down and grab some. So mā te kotahitanga e whai kaha ai tātou. Nā reira, me hui, me kōrero, me whai wāhi ki tēnei kaupapa whakahirehira. Let's work together to make this by-election a success for our people. Mauri ora.
You may have heard our friend Pere make its first appearance, haupai, and just echoing the sentiments as well of Whaia Matire this morning. Thank you very much, Matire. Jan Teneri, ladies and gentlemen. Haere mai, Jan.
E papa ki ko ana nā tai, he tai wiwi, he tai wawā, he tai ki uta, he tai ki waho. Ko tēnei te tai o te tangata, e taunei ki konei, aku nui, aku rahi, tēnā koutou katoa. It's always a real pleasure to come to this service and this commemoration here in commemorating Waitangi and the signing of Te Tiriti. And I am always really inspired when I hear the different speakers, and I just love sitting back there. But once again, Kylie, I have to say that you've made me think, and I'm going to go away and reflect on that. So thank you so much for your kōrero again. I know it's been a really difficult year, and it's been really tough watching the proceedings and how it has panned out over the year, and seeing the mamae and the hurt that is there amongst so many different people. And it's not just our tangata whenua. So many people are feeling the hurt at the moment. And when you see that tangata whenua signed Te Tiriti in 1840 in good faith of a real partnership, but one of those partners fails them by bringing a bill to look at the principles in the treaty, you can see why that mamae and that hurt exists there. We need to get beyond that. We need to move beyond that. And this is what today is about. That is why Waitangi Day is so important, and so important that you are here as part of the reflections and thinking about how we can move this forward. I always say that in the deepest and darkest hours comes the greatest hope. And we've heard about the hope here this morning. And it's great to see the rangatahi who are leading the way. And I do think back on that day in Parliament where I couldn't be there because I was on bereavement leave at the time, but I was watching it on TV and watching the strength and the power of Hannah and others around her as they stood. Now, that's going through a different process, so I'm not going to comment on the rights and wrongs of that, but the power to them and the power for them to lead the way is just gives me hope about the future. And I hope, and if it's one thing that we can say, is that we go away from here and not just make Waitangi Day commemorations a one-day event. We all need to really reflect upon how we can make this the country of a true partnership. And we're never going to have equality until we recognise an equity process and recognise a true partnership. Nō reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa.
Tēnā koe, Jan Teneri. And I'd now like to welcome Te Whanaunga, Hemi Rolliston. He's not height challenged.
Kori i te manu o tākiri mai I te ata ka o te āti hei mauri ora. Te pai, e koro mai koia mā, tēnei te mi aroa ki a koutou. Mō tēnei wā ki te kōrero I rongi I tēnei rā whakahirira o te rā o Waitangi. Nō reira tēnā koutou katoa. Mōrena whānau, they say timing is everything. So as Josh said, ladies and gentlemen and runners, I'm one of those runners that just came down with Riri from the top of the maunga. Didn't quite run. But this morning up a Maua I announced that I am going to be a candidate for the Te Awanui ward. And I've rung just about everybody in this tent so that they can hear it firsthand, because I didn't want to get a telling off from my aunties and uncles that they heard it from somebody else. So they can officially hear it from somebody else. And listening to the kōrero today, like Kylie said, and I thought I better get my merch, so I got my merch on. And she said you need to find 5 Māori friends, but not just 5 Māori friends, 5 Māori that aren't on the Māori roll that are going to go on the roll going forward. So that's what we've got to do, whānau. And as Josh said, he's got a bell, so my intentions aren't to keep you long, because the intention is we've got to get good candidates. We've got to get good candidates, and so that's why I'm putting my name up early and laying down, I hope to think, a strong marker for our whānau to not only vote, and I'm not asking for votes today, I'm just telling you to get on the roll and vote. What I'm telling you to do is make a wise choice when you do vote, because we need good people sitting around the table, and we've heard from Mahe, ngā mihi ki a koe te rangatira, that they need a team of 10, and so that we can make good decisions. So my kōrero quickly today is 4 C's. The first C is the capacity. I have the time and the energy to do this role. You need time and you need energy. I'm currently #funemployed, so I have the ability to jump straight into the job. Capability is the second C. I have the capability, the skills, the experience, the education, both in leading organisations and in governance. Capability is there. The third C is community. I'm connected to this community at all levels. Both obviously I whakapapa to all of Tauranga Moana, but I'm connected right throughout the community, and so you need that community connection. The fourth and the most important C is I'm committed. And those that know me well, that when I have a go at something, I'm 100. I'm a hundy. So I give it heaps. So there's the bell. I'm already being one of those bloody people, those politicians. So I can't hang around, because I'm going over to Rotorua for whānau reunion on my Scottish side. So I'm as good as everybody on every side, and that's all around working together. He waka eke no, tēnā koutou katoa.
Ka pai tēnā koe Hemi. And it is, yes, it's whilst it's not an opportunity to gather your votes here this morning, it is an opportunity for us all to hear different ways that we can be advocates for the principles of Te Tiriti o Waitangi. And we know that the Te Awanui seat is one of those opportunities we all have. And so, in saying that, I would also like to welcome my cousin Ange Webster up here, and she's also a candidate for the Te Awanui seat, by the way. Haere mai.
Morena koutou. Ko Andrea Webster hau no Tauranga Moana tōku kāinga mai rāno. Lovely to meet you all, lovely to see you all, and thank you all for coming out and taking a stand for Te Tiriti today. I'm also standing for council, and I've worked alongside Hemi in other campaigns and other spaces, and together we definitely do cover the breadth of experience and understanding that you might need for this role. So I certainly have also made the decision to stand for my people, for wahine Māori, for our rangatahi, and really to work on the things that have been said today. Reconciliation is my jam. I spend all of my time in spaces reconciling matters for and with and on behalf of people. And I hope to be able to do that for our community, for Tauranga. So I'd love to get to know you all. Just say hi. Sometimes I can't see because I forgot my glasses, but just say hi and I'll come talk to you and find out what it is you want from your next Māori Ward Councillor. So thank you all for your time today. Ngā mihi nui.
Now, the community forum is actually an open forum, and so just before we welcome our last speaker up to the forum as well, I suppose it is a good opportunity. Are there anybody else that would like to stand for the Te Awanui seat while the microphone is on? No, just checking, kapoi.
Ko te manu kaimiro, nona te ngahere. Te manu kai mā tauranga, nona te ao. Korihi te manu, tākiri mai i te ata, ka ao, ka awa te ati hei, mauri ora. Ngā mihi o te ata kia tātou katoa. Last year, I stood at this dawn service and I made a promise from the challenge from my cousin to go out there and make some non-Māori friends and to take them back to my marae at Te Kutaroa on Matakana Island. Now, after I announced that, I had so many people come up to me, giving me their phone numbers and really wanting me to take them over to the island. And, but I never followed through, and I felt really bad about that. And because I had offered something meaningful, and then I let it slip away. But the more I thought about it, the more I understood why. Because friendship isn't a transaction. You don't invite someone to your world so they can have an experience for a day. True friendship, true partnership is built on something deeper, on reciprocity, on understanding, on trust. And yet, without forcing it, I did make some new non-Māori friends here in Tauranga this past year. One stops to kōrero to us as I walk my dog in the morning, and she checks in on us every day. Another I see at the same cafe I go to, and wouldn't you know it, he actually grew up on Matakana Island and he went to the same school that my dad and my aunties went to. And one, well, my whānau and I will be taking her back to our island next week. But she's been there before, not a visitor, but as a midwife who has delivered pepe of my relatives. She's put in the hard yards and walked alongside us. That's what Te Tiriti is about. Not just words signed in 1840, not just a historical event to be remembered once a year. Te Tiriti is living, it's breathing. It exists in the relationships that we build today, and it takes time. It takes work. And it requires something deeper than good intentions. It requires action. So today I'll ask you this. What hard yards are we willing to put in? Individually, as a whānau, as a community. Not just today, but tomorrow and next year. Because the state of our country won't be transformed in a single day of remembrance. But it can be changed by the relationships we build, the conversations we have, and the work we do together. And as for my promise, I've already started with my new friends. And now it's about continuing to nurture those relationships, strengthening the trust, and when the time is right, welcoming them back to my marae on Matakana Island. I'm committed to putting in the hard yards. How about you? Nō reira, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa.
Rohare o Murray, ladies and gentlemen. That concludes our open community section this morning. And to conclude this part of our ceremony and our proceedings, I'd like to welcome Waiata International Group back. And if you would stand with us, ladies and gentlemen, as they lead us in our national anthem this morning. Ka pai, e noho tātou. Be seated. And again, just acknowledgements to Waiata International, who are going to again bless us with another Waiata this morning.
Yeah.
led out by Dudu Kaudeko, Waiata International, ladies and gentlemen. Can we give them one more round of applause this morning? Tēnā koutou. Beautiful representation of our community here this morning at Hopukiore. We've heard from the older generation this morning. We started with our acknowledgements from our kaumātua. We've talked about today us gathering to commemorate the past and celebrate the future. So I want to start celebrating the future this morning as we go back into another rangatahi kōrero, a part of our ceremony, our proceedings we have each year, which I suppose gives us a bit of invigoration, gives us some excitement for the future that's ahead. When it comes to te tiriti, what does that look like for our future leaders? Well, actually our leaders of today, and I don't say that lightly with our next rangatahi speaker this morning, ladies and gentlemen, Tei Rerenui, a representative anuri tēnei no ngai te rangi no Ngāti He, especially with the Rerenui last name. I see a few Rerenui sitting out here this morning. Ka pai. He's also been our summer intern for Te Pautaka Wainga, which is our Māori engagement team at Tauranga City Council. So he's really been getting an inside view there. He's about to get into his second year at Waikato University for a Bachelor of Environmental Engineering. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Tei Rerenui.
Tēnā koutou katoa. Ki ngā mate, haere, haere, haere. Ka mihi ki ngā tangata whenua o Tauranga Moana. Ko Mauau te maunga, ko Tauranga te Moana, ko Mātātua te waka, ko Nai te rangi te iwi, ko Ngāti He te hapu, ko Opopoti te marae, ko Tei Rerenui tōku ingoa. Ko te manawa rere kia u. As we stand here today, on the 185th anniversary of the signing of Te Tiriti o Waitangi, it's important for us all to look back to the past, to acknowledge, learn, and continue to heal. The journey since then has spanned countless generations of Māori, early European settlers, and all others who have arrived in Aotearoa up until now. Te Tiriti allows us all, tangata whenua and tangata tiriti, to have a home, grow families, and share aroha in this special corner of the world. However, we cannot celebrate today without acknowledging the historical breaches of Te Tiriti and the intergenerational mamae they have caused. From whenua lost during Raupatu to all tipuna lost in the Māori land wars, the suffering has been overwhelming. Another treaty breach was the suppression of te reo Māori during the 20th century. I grew up with the story that my koro, Haki Jack Rerenui, was punished for speaking te reo Māori when he went to school as a child. His generation came to be known as the silent generation, and Māori born during this time are still alive today. It is a story that I and many others will never leave behind. Ko te manawa rere kia u. Trembling hearts, be firm. Or in other words, remain steadfast in the face of adversity. This war cry, rallied at the Battle of Pukehinahina Gate Pa in 1864 by Ngāi Te Rangi Chief Rawiri Puhirake, speaks to being unwavering in your fight for what you believe in. It has been exemplified by the many people who have worked tirelessly towards reaching a future that Te Tiriti imagined. There has been much adversity and many challenges, yet their resolve has never dwindled. As rangatahi, it is now our time to learn from Aotearoa's history and the knowledge of those who have come before us. It is time to cast our eyes forward to a future of our creation. A future that honours Te Tiriti and its vision for a prosperous Aotearoa for tangata whenua and tangata tiriti. A future we can reach if we practice three values: kaitiakitanga, manaakitanga, and kotahitanga. By exercising kaitiakitanga, we can nurture and safeguard te taiao, the natural environment, putting it in the best position to thrive and protect us in return. By showing manaakitanga and caring for one another, we can maintain and build resilient and tight-knit communities. And through kotahitanga, we can be united in achieving our many shared goals that will lead to better outcomes for all. The slow-moving cogs of politics from which significant change can come is never an easy system to work within or from the outside. However, time and time again, it brings people with a common purpose together, with the Hikoi Mō Te Tiriti last year being a recent example. Every day, we live through the ebbs and flows and the ups and downs of politics. Let us now take a step back and consider the following. Governments and legislation last only years. The hopes and aspirations of rangatahi who carry our tipuna with us will last forever. Nō reira, kei te mihi nui ki a koutou katoa. Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa.
Tēnā koe Tei. That's our future leaders right there, ladies and gentlemen. Can we have another round of applause for Tei Rerenui? Kaitiakitanga, manaakitanga and kotahitanga. I hope you took those nuggets away with you this morning. And it's definitely a role and responsibility of all of us. And you're embodying that this morning by showing up here and acknowledging Te Tiriti o Waitangi and the part it has to play in the bright future we all have together. Ka pai. It's also an honour and a privilege to have our kapa haka with us this morning, te kapa tautoko. Nō reira e te iwi, a few items from our local kapa. Nō reira homai te pī ki Pakipaki. Please give a warm welcome to te kapa tautoko. And I will put in this little disclaimer here on their behalf. If you are local here to Tauranga Moana and you know these waiata mai Rawiri, can see you, waiata mai Rawiri, this front row too, a lot of good singers here. I see them at karaoke, so there's no excuse, ka pai.
It's
Ladies and gentlemen, please give it up for Te Kapa Tautoko. The supporting group who really just reiterate the sentiments this morning and celebrate our Tauranga Moanatanga. A few of our national anthems from right here in Tauranga to close out our time. Before closing though, our closing karakia, I'm just going to catch my breath. But also, e mihi kauana ki ngā kaumātua ki ngā pakeke. Kia koutou e whakatīnana nei wene o ngā mātāpono. O tira, kia koutou e te reo, tuatoru o te reo o rātana, tēnā koutou. Taino atu rā kia koutou katoa e ta hapuri. So just of course our acknowledgements to you all this morning. To us all, for coming, embodying the principles of Te Tiri o Waitangi this morning, tēnā koutou. Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou. The day doesn't end here, ladies and gentlemen. There are a few other kaupapa that are happening today throughout the Moana that commemorate and celebrate Te Tiriti o Waitangi. Māori in the Moana at Whareroa Reserve kicks off at about 10 o'clock this morning. We have our Tauranga Moana Waitangi Day Festival at Historic Village. It goes throughout the better part of the day, starting again at 10 a.m. this morning. Nō reira, please stand for our closing himene mā te mare, our karakia, and remain standing as te reo o rātana te tuatoru march us off this morning.
Ai mōrena tātou. I just want you to turn to the person on your right and say, what great messages we have heard today. Ai, kia ora anō, ko Reverend Vianney Douglas tōku ingoa, he uri no Ngāti Rangi Nui, te aroa whānui, Ngāti Wharau, ngā mihi kia koutou. I runga i te ingoa o te matua, te tama me te wairua tapu, āmini. Hei mua koe ia mātou e hua, hei tohu ia mātou mahi katoa. Ko koe anonu, han he whakakaha ia mātou, kia whai korore ai koe ia mātou mahi katoa. He mea timata, he mea mahi, he mea whakaoti i roto i a koe, kia whiwhi ai hoki mātou ki te ora tonu, i te mea a te whaitia nei e koe, ko hiukaraiti tō mātou āriki. E te matua i nui ana mātou ki a koe, mō ngā mate o te tau, ka huri o mātou whakaaro, kia kahurangi iri tana tā whiwhirangi, tētahi o ngā tino kuia o te kohanga reo. Me ngā mate katoa o tēnā marae i tēnei tau o Tauranga Moana. E arohaina nei e mātou. Tukua ki a rātou tō rangi mārie, tukua ki a tiaho tō mārama ki runga ki a rātou moa ke tonu atu. I roto i tō aroha me tō kaha. Āwhinatia hoki rātou e noho ana i raro i te kapua pauri. E ihoa nau rā katoa. E te ariki he ātuahua koe, he rangi mārie, he ngāwari. Tono iho, te tō mai rangi o tō ata whai ki runga, ia mātou i te rangi nei, ia mātou e maumahara i ngā tupuna o mua. I hainatia te tiriti mā mātou hei huarahi kia noho tahi ai mātou. E te atua ata whai kaupare te atu te kino, ngā mate o te wā, i o mātou kāinga, i o mātou whānau. Ta kaia mātou e tō koro ai aroha, pai here tia mātou i roto i tō rangi mārie, mutunga kore, ko hiukaraiti hoki tō mātou. Lord, protect our homes and families from all evil and troubles of the time. Wrap us in your cloak of love. Bind us within your everlasting peace and reconciliation. Amen. Let us all say together, kia tau, kia tātou katoa. Te ata whai o tō tātou ariki a ihu karaiti, me te aroha o te atua, me te whiwhinga tahitanga ki te wairua tapu, ake, 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 āmini.
If you can just remain standing, ladies and gentlemen. O te reo o rātana te tuatoru will march us off. Ladies and gentlemen, enjoy your Waitangi Day today. Tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā tātou katoa.